It's on daily in Dunkirk, on daily. It's on live in Dunkirk and Fredonia and Silver Creek and all over the place. And they run it during the week. Westfield, they run it twice a day, 2 and 8. Can't go wrong. We're with Dr. Scott Bedwell, and he's telling us that the Westfield Hospital looks like it's going to survive. You never know, but it looks like it's going to survive. And it's a very important feature. And when he says the community fought hard, and you can, if you raise a rumpus with this, the legislature, when something looks wrong, they respond. Fortunately, God bless them. And the community wasn't just Westfield, it was Ripley, it was Brockton, Portland, Sherman, all the little communities, Mayville, served by this hospital. And if it went under, they'd have about a 30 to 40 minute wait before they got any kind of help, because they'd have to drive to Erie or to Buffalo, to Dunkirk. And a heart attack doesn't wait, or a stroke doesn't wait, or bleeding emergencies don't wait. So fortunately, we can get them within a few minutes right to the Westfield Hospital for immediate, good, urgent care. Another couple of calls. We can talk, or you want to do calls?
Let's do calls.
Okay, caller, you're on. Thank you for waiting.
Hello.
Hello there.
This is Nancy Lunsman.
Well, how you doing?
I'm getting much better.
Well, her husband was very famous, John Lunsman also, who she pushed him around and made him become famous. And he actually he did such wonderful work in planning for the county. He was a county planner, among other things. And the Lunsman Overlook in Brockton, if you're ever up in the Haight Road, go down to the Lunsman Overlook and pull in there. It's a beautiful park. It has a view you can see for probably 20 to 30 miles and sometimes more. And it's just gorgeous. And they have planned little pathways where the plants have been identified, the trees, and they have a wonderful gazebo there. They have a place to eat. They have, it's fantastic.
Okay, I'll get out there.
Right, Nancy?
Yes, well, what I called about this morning was to thank Dr. Scott Bedwell for diagnosing my problem that I've had for I don't know how many years. He operated on me over at St. Vincent's, cut a whole bunch of, what were those?
Bad stuff, whatever.
Well, it wasn't bad stuff, no. It was adhesions. And anyway.
Lesions, huh?
Pardon?
Yeah, lesions.
No, adhesions.
Adhesions, okay.
Yeah, anyway, that's not important. I just wanted to thank Dr. Scott Bedwell for the wonderful job he did in diagnosing me and operating on me and giving me that little spiritual lift, too, that was part of my surgery. So I called to thank you. So.
Well, you're welcome.
There you go. Nancy, what are you doing now?
Not much.
I know you were kind of chasing around about the lake and tied up, interested in lake properties. And lakefront is saving some of our waterways.
Well, yeah, that's with the Nature Conservancy or the Watershed Conservancy, yeah. I still give them money, but I don't do too much physically about it.
You're not jumping around the way you used to?
That's right. I am not jumping around the way I used to.
Ain't it the same for all of us, eh?
Yeah, that's right. Getting older, it does slow you down. So.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, you guys have a good
Nancy,
day.
And you have a great Christmas. Apparently, there's one happy patient.
It's good. You know what makes a good surgeon, Reed?
What's that?
Good patients. And Nancy is certainly one of them. She wanted to get better. She worked hard to get better.
What are lesions, or what are adhesions? What are
scar
those?
tissue. She had scar tissue within her abdomen that was causing pain.
Yeah, I thought that adhesions were when the intestines often got tied up, messed up. If you haven't, I had a cat that was run over, the tire went right over his abdomen. The vet said, we'll give him a few days if you're lucky. I nursed him back. Of course, a lot of his fur had been taken off, his skin and everything. I nursed him back, and the doctor said, well, he'll have the adhesions, they'll kill him. He was right that he had the adhesions because he could not eat kibble. He would spit it up. But he could eat meat, the canned meaty stuff. So I gave him that. That was 7 years ago. He's down to 13 years old. And
you're kidding.
Still happy as a clam.
Wow.
Yeah. Somehow he worked around the adhesions or whatever.
You missed your calling, Reed.
I
You should have been
a vet.
Yeah.
Oh, well. We're sitting here having just a general chat with Dr. Scott Bedwell, and one of his happy patients just called in and thanked him for saving her an awful lot of consternation, unhappiness, pain, and suffering, right?
Yes, sir.
It can be a real pain. What are the results when you get adhesions? Bad digestion, of course, right?
Well, anytime you get an operation, Reed, you're going to, in the abdomen, you'll get scar tissue or adhesions. Sometimes it's symptomatic, sometimes it's not.
What's symptomatic? What's that mean?
Symptomatic meaning it can cause some kind of problem. It can cause anything from pain to actual blockage in the bowel.
That would be bad news.
Right. And so the unfortunate part of getting an adhesion that is causing enough problems that you want to do something is that surgery caused the adhesion in the first place. To reoperate certainly may expose you to more scar tissue down the road. So we avoid trying to operate on it unless the symptoms are severe enough that there's no choice.
What do? Say a prayer? There must be something you got to do here.
Well, one, if you can live with the condition, you live with it. Two, if you need to operate, you explore and cut the scar tissue.
Did you do that?
Yes.
You had to go. You had to go and do a little surgery.
Yes.
Did you do it laparoscopically, or did you cut her open?
I'm not sure where HIP is going to tell me what to do or not.
Yeah, this might be a hip, I think. We're not talking about this particular patient.
Okay.
We're talking about when you do surgery for say, adhesions. Can you do it laparoscopically?
You try.
You try.
You can look in with a laparoscope and see if the scar tissue can be handled laparoscopically. In some instances, it can. If you get in there with the scope, if you can safely enter the abdomen with the scope, you divide the tissue, the scar tissue. If you get in there and it's too severe, then you can turn and do a cut you open kind of surgery.
Well, the surgery, of course, is, one of my friends, Bob Barnes, tells me that you try to avoid it at all costs. He was trained as a surgeon, but he does mostly, what is the alternative medicine called?
Homeopathy is one.
Homeopathy is one of them, but it's there's a term for it. At any rate, somebody will call in and tell me. We have another caller, Mort. Get on the stick. I see the light button. The button is flashing. Okay, so you believe that there is the less knife, the better, probably. And most surgeons believe that, don't they? If you can avoid it.
Agreed. It's the best operation I ever did was the one I found out I didn't have to do and didn't make the incision. You can always operate on somebody, but you can never unoperate. And as we just talked about with adhesions, there's consequences to surgery, even successful surgery. It still can give you complications later in life.
Yeah, readhesions. Readhesions.
Readhesion, that's right.
Yeah, well, our patient who did tell us that she had them seems very happy, though, with whatever you did. It was just a wonderful program. I think that we should take a phone call because we've got a bunch of people waiting to talk to us, okay?
Great.
So, and they only can come in one at a time. So,
okay.
Here you go. Good morning, caller. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First off, I'd like to say what a wonderful day. We don't have a bunch of snow.
That's right.
I went to Northeast yesterday. We were having our Christmas, a group of us were having our Christmas program. They were offering to come and get me, and I said, what do you mean, come and get me? They had 4 inches or more of snow,
Well, they
plus
had-
slushy roads.
The weather report had 30 feet in Buffalo or something like that. They had an
Wow.
awful lot.
A lot of snow, that's for sure. And I also would like to take this opportunity in the seasons to say hello to Mr. and Mrs. Bishop, who run the dance studio. Their program's almost ready, and excitement is reigning among the students because I happen to be related to a student. And anybody who gets a chance should go see their program. It's very Christmassy and very nice.
Thank you for the ad.
And,
now let's get down to business. Do you have a question?
I certainly do. I understand that the news has been released and that our hospital is going to remain in Westfield and the emergency room is going to be intact. I also understand that we might be going to, again, enlarge our services a bit and maybe get some hospital beds. Is this true? Do you know?
More beds than 3?
I'm not sure the ultimate plan or size. I think it has to evolve as the success of the hospital evolves and the need is determined. Again, everything is balanced with what the hospital can afford to do, what the community needs it to do, and that's evolving. So services are being brought into the area that we will see how it works and move forward. Long-range plans is to provide for the needs of Westfield in what a community hospital can provide. There's multiple sections within the hospital which are already functioning, where there are inpatient beds that can stay 2 to 3 days. There is a hospice section of the hospital which is providing wonderful services for that population. So yes, do we think it's going to grow? Yes. Do we have an upside maximum growth potential? No. We want to nurture this and grow it from the ground back up again and see how it works.
So does that answer your question, caller?
More or less, but I'm really glad to hear about the hospice,
Yeah.
because certainly in a community that is aging quite a bit, all communities are, being what it is, people are living longer.
Of course, they try to keep hospice people at home.
And, well, I think that's,
That saves a lot of money, but it makes a slave out of the person who's caring for them.
well, having
24/7 with somebody is enough to drive you nuts.
having been in that position,
Yeah.
I do know a little bit about, I mean,
Uh-huh.
it didn't drive me nuts, but there came a
Well,
time
you sound
where...
a little funny to me.
Well, thank you. Anyways, I'm very thankful. I was hoping that perhaps they might go the other way too, and allow us to start having children back in our little home community again.
There's no
And,
plans for that at this point.
What do you mean, abstract?
A maternity.
Right, labor delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe in the future, maybe in the future. And anyways, I'm just happy that we've kept our hospital and that even there's room for growth in it. Are we still affiliated with St. Vincent's Hospital?
Yes, yes.
Because they have funded in the past things, for us. So perhaps that's...
St. Vincent's under our CEO right now, Angela Bontempo, who unfortunately just announced her retirement at the end of this month. But St. Vincent's and the Sisters of St. Joseph have been remarkably supportive of this hospital.
Yes.
They are very, very vested in this community and really wish to see it thrive from medical support issues. So that's why I was asked to come up here. I'm actually chief of the division and department of surgery at St. Vincent's.
Oh!
And Angela has asked me to begin a small practice up here to support Dr. Glotzer, who's done a wonderful job for this part of the town, which I have done. Dr. Glotzer has announced that he is going to move to Florida. So my group, we have a 5-man group, is going to make a stronger presence in this area to support the general surgical aspects of things. Ear, nose, and throat are coming. We have a GYN physician who's going to provide GYN services up here. We are very, very vested in seeing this hospital survive and thrive.
Well, let's hope that all the hospitals, small hospitals in this state, function under these circumstances. Dr. Glotzer did most of the scopes in the area. Who's going to do that now?
I will, my partner will.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Well, this is great. I'm so happy to hear it, and I was elated to hear that we were going to be keeping our emergency room, because the way they had it planned, if we'd gotten what Buffalo gotten, it would take an hour or so to get to any emergency care that you could get.
That's why everybody raised
without
their
our
rumpus.
emergency room.
Well, thank you, caller.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
and,
you have a happy Christmas up over there, wherever you are.
The same to you.
Okay, great.
And tell your guest I think people in his profession do a wonderful job, and we appreciate them.
Especially Dr. Kevorkian. He did a hell of a job. He was
Well, he had his place too, I think.
he did, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he got Oregon, at least I think it was, to allow you to croak if you feel like it.
We're
If you're
kind of
better to
our we're better to our pets than we are to ourselves
That's
sometimes,
right.
in my
That's right.
opinion.
Well, there's still the old 6-shooter and lots of pills.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for calling in. That is an interesting thing, that New York State doesn't permit you to commit suicide when you're desperately ill, terminally ill, and in terrible pain. You got to live another few weeks of this agony.
Well, I think that's where hospice care and the hospice nurses have done an utterly phenomenal job. I just lost my father this summer.
Oh, yeah? I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. But I saw what hospice care can do, and the work of the nurses and of the crew that come and just provide supportive care and keep you out of the agony and allow your body to shut down naturally, as opposed to taking...
Lots of dope, right?
If necessary, lots of dope, lots of love, lots of prayer. My father ended up passing at the VA hospital in Erie, and the hospice unit there was breathtaking.